Ken Decoster's here from CrimeStoppers to tell us what's going on. Ken, how you doing?
Joe, I'm doing fine. Hi, Tom.
Good morning.
Ken, what'd you bring us this week? Bunch of news.
Well, I know you guys touched on it earlier today, but certainly anybody who's lived in this community for any length of time remembers the horrific story of the Simon Peter Nelson family back in January of 1978. As the story goes, Simon Peter Nelson and his wife were going through marital problems, and I think ultimately a divorce. And he snapped. He and his family lived over on Camp Avenue in Churchill's Grove, and he beat his 6 children and the family dog to death. The murders were uncovered on, it was a Saturday morning in January of 1978. Legendary radio news reporter Fred Spear, who worked for so many years at this radio station, was the first reporter on the scene. One of his sources told him, you better go over to, I forget the exact address on Camp Avenue. I can picture the house. And Fred hustled over there, and the coroner and just a legion of police officers were at the house. And
did Fred get to see, or not get to, have to see what happened inside?
I don't know that he was inside the house.
Okay.
Certainly he was outside interviewing the police. It was just, in fact, if you go online, there's still photos from that day. The police, the neighbors, when you have a lot of police officers show up and then the word spreads, even before social media, believe it or not, there were literally dozens and dozens of people outside this horrific crime scene. Simon Peter Nelson, 85 years old, died ironically on Father's Day.
Wow,
that's like that's a bad joke.
Yeah, I think I don't always know what irony is, but I do believe that is irony right there.
He had been every couple of years up for parole, and there was a very active petition drive to keep him incarcerated, and he died in the hospital in Springfield on Sunday morning at the age of 85. And I think the current state's attorney, Joe Briscato, who actually grew up in that area, summed it up best that see if I can find his quote, just the impact of the horrific crimes continues to be felt even today. Just longtime Rockfordians. Well, you were, 10 years old?
I was.
Do you remember hearing about that?
Vividly. Yes, we were talking about it. It couldn't escape it. It was, obviously all over the news. And I was listening to this very station at the time, probably, heard all the reports at the time. Yeah, couldn't escape it. It was terrible.
I was in college at the time up in Milwaukee at Marquette University. And at that time, I had no ties to Rockford. I don't think I knew anybody in Rockford. But I remember in college hearing in 76, 77, no sports in the public schools because of budget cuts. Then the horrific Simon Peter Nelson killings in 78.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did this get national coverage when it happened?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then in early 1981, Ray Lee Stewart went on his crime spree where he killed, I think, 6 people in Rockford and in Beloit, Wisconsin. He was ultimately captured in North Carolina. That's my first taste of Rockford.
Introduction to
Rockford,
okay.
Hearing these stories. But
and you said, I got to come down and check this out.
What's that?
Then you said, I got to come down there and check it out.
Yeah. You have a sick sense of humor, don't you?
Thank you.
Speaking of violence, and this is from the Rockford Register-Star, neighbors galvanized by recent shootings will rally at 7 p.m. today in the 1600 block of Camp Avenue, near the house where 2 people were shot early Thursday morning. Alderman Chad Thunberg is helping to organize the rally in conjunction with neighborhood activists who he said want to take a proactive approach to preventing crime and violence. He's quoted as saying, "We are having what we are calling a neighborhood awareness and action gathering. The rising up and unification and the solidarity of what I have seen within this neighborhood over the last few days is nothing short of spectacular. Residents are expected to gather with city officials and Rockford police officers in the street outside a rental house where the shootings took place. Thunberg said neighbors suspect the house was the scene of criminal activity, and they want to send a message that violence won't be allowed in their neighborhood. So that's, if you live in that area, you're encouraged to take part in this rally against violence.
Now, I worked in Chicago for some time, and so I paid attention to a lot of the violence that was going on out there. And the saying, the tongue-in-cheek saying was, sun's out, guns out. As soon as the temperature warmed up, bullets started flying. I've noticed lately around here, it seems to be a lot more just shots fired. Maybe not, people getting hit, but shots fired seem to be reported at an alarming rate. Is this normal for the beginning of summer around here, or are we experiencing something bad?
I don't have any statistics, Joe, but I suspect that as the weather gets warmer and people are, the young kids are not in school, people are hanging out outside even at night when, the weather's nice. I think the criminal activity, shots fired activity tends to rise in the summer months when the weather's nice. I am just alarmed and continue to be alarmed at the number of violent crimes involving young people, teenagers, and
so you feel like this is a little bit of an outlier. These recent months. I mean, this is not what the normal May, June, April, May, June.
Joe, I would defer to Rockford Police and Winnebago County Sheriff's Police in terms of they track all that, but I think it follows that as the weather warms up and kids are out at night, so in the summer months, there's a corresponding increase, unfortunately, in criminal activity. Speaking of which, a 16-year-old boy by the name of Jamie Rogers was found dead last Wednesday morning in an alley between Kent and Morgan Streets in southwest Rockford. He was pronounced dead at 8:32 in the morning last Wednesday. An autopsy showed he died of a single gunshot wound to his upper body. His shooting is being investigated as a homicide by the Rockford Police Department. 16-year-old boy.
Tough.
Yeah. Anyone with information is urged to call Rockford Police, I think the number is 779-500-6551, or certainly call CrimeStoppers at 815-963-7867. Got a tip on that particular incident yesterday that I forwarded to Rockford Police, and hopefully that will pay off. This past Sunday, the 18th, Father's Day, around 5:10 in the morning, officers responded to the 3000 block of Bildall in reference to a call for gunshots. Officers arrived and discovered the residence and two vehicles were struck by bullets. Witnesses described hearing the shots and observing a tan van leave the scene. Police later located 4 spent .380 casings along the roadway. At approximately 6:30 in the morning, Winnebago County Sheriff's deputies located a van matching the description provided for the earlier incident in the 7400 block of Mildred Drive in McChesney Park. Deputies spoke with the owner of the van as well as the subject who had been driving the van. Officers located a .380 handgun wrapped in a black ski mask. Now, I'm not a police officer, but that seems to be a solid clue.
A little suspicious.
Yes. The incident was reviewed by the state's attorney's office. The office authorized charges of armed habitual offender and felon in possession of a firearm for 31-year-old Ron J. Stonecipher of Rockford. Stonecipher is lodged in the Winnebago County Jail in lieu of bond. On CrimeStoppers this week, we're going to focus on a fatal fire that occurred in Belvedere back in March that resulted in a death, several injuries. On Friday night, March 10th, fire broke out at a 3-story apartment complex at 819 West Jackson Street in Belvedere. A 36-year-old woman named Melissa Darling died of smoke inhalation. Several other people, including children, were hospitalized. The cause of that fire is undetermined, but Belvedere police say the fire is suspicious, and their investigation is ongoing. If you have any information concerning the fatal fire at 819 West Jackson Street in Belvedere, please call Belvedere Police, 815-547-6445, or call CrimeStoppers at 815-963-7867. Losing a loved one to a fire that is caused by accidental
is a tragedy.
Mm-hmm. But if law enforcement is saying this is a suspicious fire, I mean, imagine
it's
the people who were injured, the people who were displaced, and the relatives and loved ones of the woman who died. Suspicious fire. I mean, that is just absolutely.
Just the folks that lost.
Right. Lost their belongings. Right.
That's tough.
And if police are saying, well, we have reason to believe this is suspicious, let's hope we can bring the perpetrator to justice.
Absolutely.
Right. And finally, guys, we're looking for the following 4 individuals. 52-year-old Willie White is a white male, 6 feet tall, 170 pounds. He's wanted for domestic battery. 29-year-old Rose Reedy is a white female, 5'2", 135 pounds. She's wanted for mob action. 41-year-old Jerome Pena is a white male, 5'10", 195. He's wanted for violating an order of protection. And finally, 37-year-old Sonia K. White is a black female, 5'6", 160. She's wanted for driving on a revoked license. If you know the whereabouts of any of these individuals, or if you have any information concerning criminal activity, give us a call at Rockford CrimeStoppers, 815-963-7867. Remember, when you call us, we don't have caller ID. We don't ask your name. And if you give us information that leads to the arrest of somebody wanted on a warrant, or the arrest of somebody for some criminal activity, we pay rewards, cash rewards of up to $1,000.
And remains anonymous.
Correct.
Even through the cash reward.
That is correct.
Good. Keep that in mind. So hopefully we can help you out. Ken?
Joe?
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you,
Tom,
Ken.
good to see you too.